everybody. We're back for our monthly Rapido Live. I guess it's been about a month now, or 3 weeks, or something like that. So we've got Jason, of course, right below, and Matt, who's, which state is he in this week, Matt? Oh.
Kentucky.
On my screen, I'm beside you. I'm not below you.
Oh, okay. I guess everyone's screens are different.
Yeah, ask Bobby where we are.
Ask Bobby? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he'll probably message me about it. So anyway, so we've got quite a bit of stuff to talk about today. We've got a quick product announcement that we just launched. It was kind of the worst kept secret of the last week. So we've got a new passenger car that we're launching today, and we've got a number of order deadlines coming up. So we'll go through all of those, and we'll kind of sprinkle in some questions here and there throughout the evening. So it should be interesting. So I figure we could probably jump right into it with the VIA snack coaches, the Tempo snack coaches. So let me share that on the screen here. Get kicked off right away. There we go. They look very familiar, but they're a little different. So you know what snack coaches, don't you, Jason?
Yeah, so what happened here, so just a little backup. The Tempo, some of you might recognize it from the Rio Grande ski train because they were built for CN in '68 and for services in southwestern Ontario, Canada. And then they were transferred to VIA in '78, and they ran regularly on VIA till about 85, 86. The last one ran in regular service in '87. And then they were sold to the ski train to upgrade the fleet because they were built with head end powers, so they weren't old steam heated cars. They're aluminum bodied coaches built by Hawker Siddeley in Northern Ontario. And then in 2009 they went back to CN actually, and are now being used at Algoma Central. So we've done the Algoma Central, we've done the CN, we've done the VIA, we've done the ski train. And VIA in the early 80s decided that they needed something in between. They had coaches, they had cafe bar lounges. Cafe bar lounges is a very large cafe section. They needed something with just a small snack counter. So at the same time that VIA was upgrading a number of its regular coaches, the steam heated equipment, to have snack counters, it did the same thing with some of the Tempo cars. And the modifications were where the counter is on this side of the car. There's a blanked wall. The blanked window, and then a new, I think, is this the side of the car that's got the new small window? I think so.
That's
that window is slightly smaller than the other windows.
Yep.
And the other side of the car has also got a blank. You can see the blank. Yeah, there you go. So the blank is actually it's a riveted panel. It's not even a seamless because these are just cleaned aluminum. There's no finish on these cars. So they just took a sheet of aluminum, riveted on, and that was how they blanked the window. So our car, we did these for the ski train. And while we were doing them for the ski train, we thought, let's make a small run of VIAs. They were only in service for about 3 years,
something like that,
3 or 4 years. So there was no point in doing a large run. So we did them. We tacked them on the ski train, and then they sat in our warehouse. And we decided let's go and wait for the right time to release them. And because there's been so few deliveries from all the manufacturers lately, we said, Jordan, I think it was you who suggested it. We should launch them this month.
Yeah, this is the only launch we're doing this month, and it fit right in. So
yeah, so we announced it one quick email to Canadian dealers, and all the cars were gone in less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it means that we made the right number of cars. We wouldn't want to be making thousands of VIA snack coaches. There's not demand for it. So you can get it from your dealers, but you can't order it from us because it's sold out. But we have a very, very excellent video by Jeremy showing off these cars. It's pretty funny.
Yep. Just head over to our YouTube channel. I don't think it's on Facebook yet. I was going to post that probably. I don't think it's up yet, but we'll probably put that on Facebook as well.
Oh, it wouldn't be because the newsletter just came out, so I guess it'll go up in the next day or two.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So but it is on YouTube right now, or you can connect it right through our webpage. And of course, there are the 6 numbers. So as you can see, they are sold out on our end. A select number of dealers. I don't know which ones off the top of my head, but there are several Canadian dealers that have ordered them in. So just might have to call around and see.
They all went to Canadian dealers. So if you're watching this from the US of A or overseas, just contact one of the larger Canadian dealers or a smaller dealer that you have regular contact with, and you'll be able to order from them.
Mhm. And they're a nice complement to the other the tempo cars that we did last. What was it, 2 years ago now? Almost 2 years ago. That was 2019, wasn't
It
it?
was 2019 when we brought out the tempos.
Yeah.
That to this day, I think that is possibly the most perfect model we've ever done. I really like. I look at those cars and I just think we nailed it. We nailed it. I love it. Was someone asked me in a UK interview? They said, "What is the best model train that you've ever owned or bought or whatever?" And I said, "Can I say one of our own?" And I said, "The Tempos." And we didn't think there'd be enough demand to even make Tempos because it's such a niche car. It ran in 3 places on the planet. That's Chicago, Toronto, Rio Grande Ski Train, and Northern Ontario and the high going. That's the only places these things ran. I mean, there were 3 beat up ones out in Eastern Quebec, but we don't talk about that. So it's like that 3 places, and they've been done very, very well for us.
Yeah, absolutely. They also resemble those Ontario Northland go cars.
Yes, but they're not. They're built by Hawker Siddeley, so it's a similar platform. There were also cars that were built for Mexico or Brazil or something like that. Somewhere.
There's a lot of them in Mexico. Yeah.
Is it Mexico where they had the opening windows?
Mm-hmm.
But they're different enough that you can't just throw them in as a stand-in. If we ever do single level go cars, we would tool them up as single level go cars. We would not use a tempo.
Absolutely. In theory, anyway.
Right.
So yeah, those are the go cars. Check with your dealer. They are
not the go cars. Those are the tempo coaches.
Sorry, tempo car.
Yeah, you're confusing people. Now they're going to ask for GP40 TCs. And you're going to say no.
So that's the thing. I posted the video of the Via set passing by the office, and we got emails. I see the video about the new Via trains. I'm on your website, but I don't see the models listed anywhere.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Give us time, eh? Like, slow down.
Anyways, so yeah, check your dealer for those while they last. I'm sure they won't last too long. So yeah, so that's the snack cars. Now we do have a bunch of order deadlines coming up. Well, next week. Today's the 7th. On the 15th, we've got some order deadlines.
Week from tomorrow, Friday the 15th.
Yep. So let's start. Maybe we'll start with one of Matt's projects here, the auto floods. Let me bring this up on the screen. You've got the samples there, don't you?
Yeah, I got one right here.
There we go. There we are. Got that all set up. So take it away.
Well, I mean, like you mentioned, the order deadline is next Friday, the 15th. The handful of people that have seen this car in person just can't get over how nice the details are on the car. And every time I look at it, pick it up, look it over, I'm just blown away by it too. So this is probably the nicest rapid discharge car on the market now. And I mean, the way we designed it, it's sort of based off of
Jordan, why don't you stop sharing and Matt can put it up close to the camera and show what we're talking about.
Sure. Yeah, let's
we make Matt big.
We can. There we go.
But no, I mean, like I was saying, I mean, some of the stuff that we were able to do with it, just like making the slope sheets and the floor all one solid die-cast piece, that actually came from Bill's GLA hopper, the way Bill designed that car and sort of modified and adapted it to this car. And that way we were able to do the sides as a flat piece to get all the rivet and bolt detail on the inside of the car. An industry first for this style of car.
They're also thinner sides too, eh?
Yeah, I mean, they're more prototypical, definitely.
Right.
So, and then, I mean, of course, the cross members and the K members, just a really, really nice car. I sent my order into Dan Garcia the other day, and I ordered quite a few of them.
Yeah, but you pay costs, so like we don't make any money on your models.
Oh, quiet you.
As a benefit, it's a perk of working at Rapido. Okay, Jordan, do you have more photos that you can pull up?
I do. So let's
Get close. Have a look, closer look.
1 second here. Let me just find out which screen I've got. I've got so many screens in the background here. You chat about the car for a sec while I dig these out.
Well, and I mean, this was one of those cars. Well, whenever we sort of started talking at the very tail end of last year, Jason, that was one of the things we had sort of discussed was freight car projects and ideas, and you were sort of wanting to tap into the U.S. market a little bit more. And you know, I'm a coal train dork, and that was one of my first thoughts was we need a nice rapid discharge hopper, and I mean, here it is. I think the last time we spoke, I mean, the orders have been really strong on this. So the
orders are crazy. They're crazy. Like unbelievable orders. People are ordering like every car.
Oh yeah, it's a unit train. So.
And that video you did where you were up by the cars and you held up the model, and with a trick of the camera, it was scale with the car on the track. Yeah, that was amazing. Like, it just looks so cool.
And if you haven't seen that video, it is also on YouTube right now. So head on over there. I think we posted that yesterday.
Do you have any more photos, Jordan, or just this one?
What's that?
Do you have any more photos? I want to see. Like,
lots of photos.
Show the inside. Show the inside. If that's a good one. There we go.
That shows you all the die cast interior, the inside bracing and everything, all the rivet detail.
Yeah, and of course, like all of our first test shot samples, this is subject to refinement and that type of thing, because there were a couple of small minor issues, but still overall for first shots out of the mold, I'm very happy with it.
I was surprised they put the rivets on for the first shot. Usually they don't.
I was too. Whenever I opened it out of the package when it arrived, that was the first thing I noticed, because I remembered talking about other projects with you guys that they had the rivets last, and here it is with rivets.
Maybe it's freight cars. The locomotives, there's often a lot more changes to do than the freight cars.
Yeah.
No, maybe also they just trust you, the designer.
Boy, no pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
So there's the body there with all the discharge gates.
Yep, and the stiffener ribs going across the width of the car on each set of doors, and those are different on each side. The ones pointing to the A end of the car are the same, and then the ones pointing to the B end of the car are the same, but between the two, they're different.
Wow.
So details like that we've captured on it. The stiffeners that are on the slope sheet ends closest to the inside wheel of each truck. I mean, just
you can see it in that photo. You can see those stickers in there.
Yep. The separately applied air pipes going along the edges of the bottom of each side of the car.
Yep.
So super nice car. I'm very happy and excited with the way this is coming out. So I can't wait to see one in paint.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Well, and especially because, you know, these are aluminum cars, so we've got that aluminum finish that we've used on like some of the passenger cars and such. I think these things are going to turn out phenomenal.
Yeah, that's the Tempo uses aluminum finish, and we use aluminum finish on our new look buses too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's been very well received. So
they're actually they're not regular paint. They're a special paint that we use for those for the aluminum and then for the stainless steel. It's not a standard paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how we get the neat finish. It's actually not a paint that's ever used in the model train industry. So we took it from a totally different industry. I'm not going to say any more, but I remember experimenting with different finishes back in 2011 with our Canadian, and it was, you know, our factory at the time, the factory boss said, "I have an idea. Let's try this stuff, which is not used for models at all," and it came out so fabulously.
How long ago did you say that was?
That was 10 years. That was when we were doing the Canadian. Yeah,
wow,
that was the stainless paint. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Tell us about the big white lump on the top.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the co-load, and of course it doesn't have any texture. See, that makes sense with no rivets on a project. So they didn't add the texture to the co-load, but I wanted to give it curvature and shape to look like it was coming out of the flood loader, and I think it turned out really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing that with texture too. And the coal load is included with each car.
So the coal load that was in the Royal Hudson got a lot of very positive comments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure the way that they made that coal load is they took like a punch and a hammer and just hammered the mold manually.
Wow.
That's how they did it. So I suspect that that's how they're going to make this coal load the same way. They're not going to design a coal load. They're just going to take a punch that's got a jagged edge, jagged shape, not a perfect circle. And it's going to go bang, 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 5,000 times and make the load, right?
Nice.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, because the coal load for this is a finer coal than like the Hudson, so they'll have to use a smaller punch, I guess.
Smaller punch. Yeah, smaller punch.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be like one guy's job for 3 days.
I can see it now. There's a picture of my face on the wall where he's been banging on it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's certain projects that I know the factory put Bill's picture on the wall and use it for darts. And Dan Darnell too. Here's this new locomotive called the RS11. By the way, there's 47 different versions.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that a little bit too, but we'll answer some questions in a little while. So yeah. Anything else we want to talk about the auto floods? I guess order deadline's next. What did you say the day was again? Next Thursday?
Next Friday.
Friday. So make sure you get your orders in. We're taking orders from dealers, or you can buy them direct off our website too.
Yep.
So
yep. And the other thing is the in cages. I don't know if you have any photo of the in cages in there, Jordan.
I've got the end photo. I've got that one.
Yeah. And this is I think also this is the first car in HO that has the piping on the in cages of a rapid discharge car.
Mm-hmm.
So again, super happy with it.
Now, I mean, credit's where it's due, Matt. You're the project engineer for this. So it has all this cool stuff because you designed the cool stuff and you specified the cool stuff. So you can be all humble and stuff, but you're awesome. And that's why we hired you.
Thanks.
Nice.
But yeah, that's the B in there. It's got the triple valve, and again, just I can't wait to get mine. Can we hurry this up, Jason?
Yes, as fast as we can. Well, they're probably going to go into production pretty soon. I mean, how much of the tooling is left to kind of be revised?
Just tweaks.
Yeah.
And the load. So
basically fit and finish issues, stuff like that.
Yeah, just a couple of fit and finish issues, and some of the rivet details they didn't get quite right. So, but nothing major.
We'll so the deadline's the 15th. We generally give the stores and distributors a few days because late orders come in. So they'll get the orders to us probably like the 18th, 19th, 20th. And then we'll send the numbers to the factory. And when we send the numbers to the factory, they'll do all the final tooling revisions. They always leave the last tweaks until they know how many they're making. Right? I guess it depends how quickly they want to finish the darn thing. Okay. If they know they're making 10,000 cars, they might work a little quicker than if they're making 5,000 cars.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll start now. I don't know if we'll get them before Chinese New Year, just because the factories are very busy with where this factory was done. They're making the EP5s, the F59s, and the PAs, and they're trying to get all those up before Chinese New Year. So it might be just after Chinese New Year, like March, April, by the time these come. But it won't be too long. It'll be within 6 months.
Okay. We'll have to.
That's actually something a lot of people have been asking about, is the EP5 in particular, when it would be coming. So
they're in production now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We've seen photos.
Yes.
If the factory had responded to Bobby's email, we would have had new photos for the newsletter. They didn't respond to his email when we said we wanted photos.
Fun times. Yeah.
I'm still curious to see what the final numbers on these are going to be, because if it's where I think it is, the factory might move pretty quick.
Excellent. What's the more of Matt's cars is the N scale cars Matt's got. That's the deadline's October 15th. The N scale B100.
Yes, so
Yeah.
let me bring that. That's the other car. We don't have any good photos of that one, but I'll bring up the website here because I've got that ready to go.
There are photos on the website though, aren't there?
I think so. I can't. Just a cat.
Yeah, right there, right? No, those are 3D renders.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the N scale PCNF B140 boxcar, 40 class boxcar. This is the same car that we've got actually arriving very soon in HO scale. It's been a great seller for us. I was really pushing for this car for a long time. Not only because SP had them, but Amtrak got them, a bunch of them in the 90s and 2000s. So we're doing them in N scale. You can see there's the CAD drawings there. We've got both the original SP versions. We've got the Amtrak version, which they changed the door wheel or the door handle to a wheel instead of the kind of the separate opener there. But yeah, we've got basically all the same road names and numbers we did in HO are also available in N scale. And these cars ran pretty much anywhere. I mean, SP had them delivered in '76, and they've been roaming pretty much all of the US and Canada, probably Mexico too, ever since. A lot of these are still on the rails. Most of the SP cars, if they didn't go into the Golden West rebuild, they went to UP. Mostly painted SP still, or some of them were repainted as well. A handful were repainted. A bunch were.
Let me take over the screen share.
Okay.
I got the photos here from. I think this is it. There we go. That's the sample.
Those are yeah. Still some updates to be done.
Yeah. They weren't 100% finished when we got these, and we haven't got the new samples yet. But I think you can see there quite nicely.
Yeah. Again, the amount of detail on the underframe of this thing on an N-scale car is just
Even look at these like the supports there for the brake. What do you call that thing? A brake rod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like that's phenomenal, right? Usually it's all just three parts molded on the underframe. But to have that kind of detail on an N-scale car, just in case it derails and falls down your embankment. There's another one over there. Nice. I think the X-bracing looks fabulous.
One thing to note is that you see the three little weird hinge things on the roof. Those will be removed. Those were
yeah. There's a bunch of stuff on the car there. This is a new mold shop that we never used before, and there was some weird stuff like that on these cars. So rest assured, people have seen our other models, and all those little doodads are going to be fixed. But you see the detail; it's amazing.
Oh yeah, and of course here's all the different road names and paint schemes we have. So of course we got 2 6-packs of SP as delivered for 1976 around there, 76, 77. We've got the Golden West rebuilds. This was about 18, 19 cars that were rebuilt mid 90s. That was for Ventura County reporting marks. They were after the SP UP merger. A lot of these were put back into their SP reporting marks, and they faded out pretty badly because this is in the 2000s, 2010s. This is largely how these cars still look. Although many of the as delivered SP cars are still around as well. And of course, we've got Amtrak, 2 versions of Amtrak, both the green and the Phase 4, and SP UP repaint, a handful of those cars, and Columbus and Greenville. And this also has this along with the, I'm not sure, I think, are we doing the conspicuity stripes on these ones? I can't remember if we did.
I don't remember.
They're not showing on there, but I think we did it in HO.
Artwork's preliminary, so I don't know. What did we do in HO?
HO, we did conspicuity stripes on the fade.
Yeah, so if we did them in HO, they'll be on N.
Yeah, and you can see them on the KG cars too. We've got the conspicuity stripes on there. The HO cars are actually also in transit right now, so they should be arriving.
Oh yeah, we can talk about all the stuff in transit afterwards.
Yes, exactly. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, and then decorated, of course. So yeah, again,
which ones were you asking about, Jordan? The Ventura County?
Yeah, the faded out SP repatched Golden West cars.
Okay.
I think it was sometime in the early 2000s. I could be wrong, but it was somewhere around there. They got repatched for their original SP numbers.
The faded out version does have the conspicuity striping.
Okay, good, yeah. So the artwork is preliminary, that's the early version. They will be going with conspicuity stripes.
Right.
Yep. So
There
again.
you go. So if people are wondering about this, all you have to do is scroll through our hour-and-a-half Facebook Live, and you'll find it at like around the 25-minute mark when we confirm that there are these conspicuity stripes on those models.
Yes, yes. A lot of people are very particular about that. So
Yeah, should have remembered faster than that. We did the artwork review this afternoon.
yeah,
Beauty.
we all forgot about it. So.
And that was 6 hours ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a long day. So other than that, that's the N scale V100. I guess when are these going right into production as well? Probably later this fall, I'm guessing. Pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, this is an easy project. So what we do, we just give the order immediately. Again, like towards the end of the month, we'll give the order immediately to the factory. And I think Matt, I'm hearing Charlie Brown's parents. Is that through your computer? No, maybe it's through Jordan's. I'm definitely hearing Charlie Brown's parents through one of your machines.
I think it might be your own.
What's that?
It might be your own computer.
I don't hear Charlie Brown's parents anymore.
Oh, maybe it's not that.
It's Matt's feedback.
Anyway, somehow you've been pinned to the center here. So.
Right. So what was I talking about? Yeah, we'll get them in production. And that factory is not as busy as the factory that's doing the PAs and stuff. So they'll go into production right away.
Yeah.
So we'll get those much sooner than the other October 15 deadlines.
Yeah.
How's that feedback better?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, seems to be better. So let's go to the next order deadline then. Hold on a second. What do we have? We've got the let's go to the gondolas.
Yes. Should I be getting one? They're in the layout, but I don't have any right here because
there was a couple of them in Kingston at some point. So.
They were often kind of upside down or sticking up in Kingston.
Yes.
There seems to be a lot of derailments around that station. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, so the Milgon, this is actually, I think this is probably our fourth production run. We did a first run by pre-order. Then we did a second run because we had just started a new factory at that point. It was like 2014, and they needed something to do, so we made a small run. That we were such a small company. I think it took like 8 months to sell 2,000 cars, and then they came to us years later. This was like 3 years ago, and said we need a couple fill-in projects, and so we made a run of like 4,500 of these, and then we launched them, and they sold out in I don't know, a week, gone.
Yeah, something like that.
And people were complaining. So what we've done now,
this was the different channel too.
So if you look at the O&R car there, it's got the hat channels on the side, the stiffeners. And if you scroll down to a CP or CN car, well, not the CNs. The CNs I think also have hat channels. Are there any other photos on this website?
Let me pull that up. I've got that somewhere in here too.
Yeah, because there seems to be only one photo. I can go grab a car.
I've got photos in here, but I'll have to dig them up if you give me 1 sec.
Right. So anyway, so we either have Z or Z bracing, though it's Z bracing because they're Canuck cars, and then we've got hat channel bracing, and so this is actually the first run since 2013 where we've taken pre-orders, because the two other runs were just like surprise. So so far the orders have been very, very good because a lot of people missed out on the last run. We just didn't make enough. When Rapido was a much smaller company, a run, oh, here we go. Yeah, so that's got the hat channel. Want to zoom in?
Yeah, this is from the third release, which is about 2-3 years ago.
Right, so you can see all the interior details. We have what's called inside slide on the mold, which means that we actually have all, just like it's a little more complicated than Matt's flat sides on his hopper, but the same end result. You get the inside rivet and latch detail. And then, so that's the hat channel. See if you can get a photo of the Z bracing, because that's really cool. I don't know if you have that in there. Let's go to a CP car. There's a hat. There you go. Zoom in on the CP car. So as you can see, every brace is a separate part. So that's how we have the like it's what you'd call an undercut. You couldn't do that if it's molded in. You could not make that. So every brace is a separate part on these guys.
Nice.
Yes, and still same incredible rivet detail, underframe detail is all there. So anyway, yeah, they're very popular cars. They ran from what was it? Is it late 40s, early 50s they were delivered?
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
And they lasted until let's put it this way, I saw them in MOW service within the last 10 years for CP. So they're still around. They're still around. And a lot of them ended up in MOW for CN as well. A new paint scheme we're doing is it the Dogwoods, the new one, or no? What's the new scheme?
PGE.
Oh, the PGE is the new scheme.
Yeah, it's the delivery scheme.
There we go, PGE delivery.
Yeah, we haven't done that one before.
That's a new scheme we're doing. But you know, like you need so many Gons on a layout, and what I really love, if anyone gets these or has ones from a previous run, and they've beaten the crap out of them, you know, like use a soldering iron and they've bowed out the sides, or you know, ding them and nick them and whatever. We want to see it. Share photos with us, and we'll put it on our Facebook.
Sure.
If you've totally weathered the snot out of one of these and beaten it up, I love seeing that kind of work. Because these cars, they're gondolas, right? They're mill gons. They're drop end mill gons. The ends do drop down, and they said that had the crap beaten out of them. So there you go. You can order these by next Friday, and then you could beat the crap out of yourself.
For sure. Yeah, there's the whole group there.
Beauty.
All right, and I guess we've got. Will we cover everything, or am I missing something? Cover the B100, got the Gons, the auto flood. Is there another order deadline I'm forgetting about?
There was, but it was postponed. That's the E8s.
Yes.
So we can talk about that for a bit.
Yep.
The sample we got some sample. First, we got our first samples a few months ago now, but that was July for the E8s. And then Bill was just too busy with other projects to be able to really start taking these things apart and fixing them up. And then we had a problem with the gearboxes. So we had the factory make new samples. And with the new samples, we cleaned up some. Dan painted one, Bill painted one, and we showed pictures of it. And it was our customers that pointed out that the trucks looked wrong. And then we looked at our drawings and we traced it back. Bill and I did. It was December 25th. It was Christmas of 2020. Before December 25th, the trucks were correct. And after December 25th, they were wrong. The engineer made changes to them without telling us. And we just didn't clue in because we had approved the trucks before then. And we don't know why that the change was made. We think that she was trying to simulate a very, very steep vertical curve, and she was cutting down the trucks for clearance. Like nobody runs Rapido models on like you know, what was that the turbo train that used to run on the wall?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, like no one does that. So
I think it was also I think they were trying to
Tyco. It was a Tyco turbo.
Yeah.
And so, and similarly, the ride height was all off, and I remember you took the photo of the new sample with the old sample, and it was like I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch higher. It's like you can't just lift the engine up a 1/16 of it. You can't screw up the height of a locomotive. So remember
the monster truck F40 video from 7-8 years ago? Yeah, that's what it looked like.
So Bill had some very choice words to say when he discovered all this, and there was a lot of conferences with the factory on WeChat and on Skype. Needless to say, they're fixing everything, and they say all the changes should be done by the end of the month. But we didn't want to close the order desk until we got at least photos of samples showing that they put everything back the way it's supposed to be. So as soon as we know that it's going okay, we're going to just let people know in a quickie newsletter, like 3-paragraph newsletter. E8 order deadline is so-and-so date, and we're going to give you like a week because we need to make these. The factory had scheduled to start making these a month ago, the Amtrak ones, and then they were going to make the rest of them this month, the Amtrak ones was a couple months ago, and so they need they're way behind schedule on these, so it's going to be like full factory effort once we sign off to get these out, because so we're not gonna do like, oh, here's a newsletter and you have another month to order these. It's gonna be like, here's a quick newsletter, you have a week, then we're done. And based on our advance orders, I think it's going to be our second most popular locomotive ever. That's based on advance order.
What was the most popular? PA?
PAs and yeah.
Speaking of which, they're coming along. We haven't seen any photos yet, but
no, I haven't seen photos from the factory. They sent EP5 photos, but I haven't. So we got to bug the factory for more photos. I'll send a message to Huang tonight and see if we can get EP5 photos. And I don't know what he's got for the PA so far, because if they're just doing like chassis assembly, there's nothing to really look at. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Remember, a lot of assembly, a big part of it is nipping parts off sprues. And for an order as large as the PA, that's like over a month of nipping parts. Every locomotive has about 400 parts. Mm-hmm. So think about that. You're doing every 1,000 locomotives, there's 400,000 parts that you're nipping off the sprues. So it actually takes a long time. And I don't know why, but people don't like to look at photos of our factory workers nipping sprues. It just doesn't fire them up.
Yeah. Anyways, why don't we do some questions? We've covered all the order deadlines and the V8s and everything. Let's dig into that.
Does everyone like my toque?
Everybody, I think, yeah.
I think it's just apropos for the moment, eh?
How old is that toque?
I got this in 1986.
I don't get it. What logo is that?
Tempo Stat Coach.
I don't know what logo this is.
Never seen it before down here.
Actually, I keep going through them because the first one I got in 86, but I think this one's more recent because they wear out. So if anybody has one of these in good condition, I will pay for it. I need more. The blue and yellow ones don't fit me. They're too small. The maroon ones do. I have a huge head. So yes, if anyone watching has a maroon via toque, I'll buy it from you.
$1 million. Anyways, let's do some questions. So we've got the snack coaches out now. The tempos have done really well. Do we see more tempos coming in the future?
Canada Dry, eh?
You can buy that on a tempo, but
yeah, tempos, Canadian tempos, not for a long time.
What about American tempos? The ski train tempos?
I think Matt, would you say there's a better chance of those coming sooner?
I think so. I actually had a dealer reaching out to me. We were talking about another project, and they were asking what the chances are of more of those being produced.
All right, so I think we don't get a lot of requests for the Canadian tempo because it's one route, like 250 miles, one line.
Yeah, pretty much. yeah.
Maybe one day.
Now, on that same note, the tempo's been very successful. Are there any other somewhat unique trains that we'd be interested in doing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really cool train. That we haven't done in a very long time that we're going to be announcing in the near future.
Oh, the blue and yellow coaches?
It's
red seat?
It's a very neat train. It's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
All I can say.
All right then. Don't be too specific.
No, I gotta keep everyone guessing. It's my air of mystery,
eh? Yeah.
For whatever could it be?
You gotta have a certain je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, for sure. Do you see us getting into any other scales?
That's a Matt question.
Yes.
It's a Matt question.
What other scales is he in?
What other scales would they be interested in? But
I saw it, Matt, you had that big TT layout a while back.
I did. What pictures were you looking at?
Actually, here's a good one.
Oh, seriously, that Matt can answer like the troubles that we have to do O scale and S scale and stuff like that.
Right, and it's one of those things that look at some of the trials and tribulations that we have just in scale and HO. So market demand and what people want and don't want and what we can and can't produce. I mean, everybody seems to think that we have these drawings from all of our other models, which we do, but at the same time, there's still a lot of engineering time and effort that has to go in to make them a different scale. So it's not just a turn the key and go.
Yeah.
And then again, it's a business risk. So how much
here's-
risk are you wanting to take?
Right. So here's an interesting parable. Someone approached me at we had a big open house at CP's Ogden Shops. Was it that we were at that awesome pavilion place? It was an Alyth or Ogden. Jordan? Are you with me here? You were there. Remember? CP Royal Hudson.
Yes.
We had a launch in Calgary. Oh, you weren't there. Oh,
No, I wasn't. You left me at the office.
yeah. Dan, my two Dans were there.
Yes.
Anyway, somebody approached me and my two Dans and said, "I really want you to bring out your CN Via coaches in O scale, like not shorty but full length, awesome coaches." I said, "I would love to, but if you can get me 3,000 orders, you can get me orders for 3,000 cars, we can do it." Because if you look at most O-scale models, they have less detail than the HO models because you can't afford to make all those molds when you're only going to sell 800 pieces.
Right.
Right. That's just the reality of it. So, yeah. And he never came back to me. So I'm still waiting. Whoever you were, if you're watching, if you were the dude who spoke to me and my two Dans in Calgary, if you got those 3,000 orders, we'll do it. But the risk is too high.
Yeah, very risky. What's the future of proto paint? We've had a few people asking about this lately.
I think that's a Jordan question.
Jordan question. I think that's a Robin question.
Yes, I can give an update. Proto paint. We started it with the paint supplier. He's a modeler. He sold the company. We started it with his replacement. They sold the company. So now there's a third company and our paint supplier. So we've basically, we want to do it, but we've thrown Robin into it and said, "Robin, when you figure out how to work with the new supplier, then we'll make more paints." But it's up to Robin. And I should add that recently we found ourselves short-staffed in the order department. So we went and we took Robin and put him in the order department.
Yes, Robin is currently handling a lot of. He's digging into the dealer order desk, and he's also handling warranty emails, our parts department, customer service, and.
And he's doing research and development for a freight car.
Yes.
He's doing propane.
Yes.
All this for $10 an hour.
And he's nominated himself for Employee of the Month, I think. Yeah,
Oh, $10 is $10, right?
Exactly. So we'll see what happens.
I should add, we're joking. We're not allowed to pay him $10 an hour. It's actually $6.
Yes, exactly.
Wait a minute, that's more than you pay me.
Sorry. Don't tell anyone, eh? Someone's gonna make you an offer you can't refuse of $8 an hour.
Where do I sign?
Here's an N scale question. Will we ever get to a point where it's safe to say that everything we make in HO will come out in N scale as well? Well, probably not everything, but.
Hey, there's a paper clip on the floor. I think I better focus on that for a while.
I think we will continue to have new N scale coming out. It's impossible to make everything in N scale made in HO. I think the market's just not big enough for that. And
it's about 1/6 the HO market.
Yes. So,
Right.
I mean, there's a new in-scale project supposed to be in the newsletter next month, I think. So
yeah,
I think we're launching it next month. That's right. It's going to the mold shop tomorrow.
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, definitely haven't forgotten about in-scale.
No, definitely not. We're still going to have. We've got lots of N scale kind of in the works. Actually, we can't talk about it, but yeah.
I have to say, I want to thank everyone who ordered the N scale Procore tank cars.
Those did really well.
Like, I've never seen N scale orders like that ever. Like it was unbelievable. Right, I was used to like the N scale new look bus. I think every N scale modeler ordered 3 of them, and we still hardly sold any. Right, but this tank car, wow, amazing orders.
So speaking of the bus, we should be able to sell a few more because the first lit sample showed up this week. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought Jeremy had a lit sample in the video.
Did he? Or
yeah. So the bus was tooled at one factory and then moved it to the other factory. So he wanted to send a new lit sample just to make sure he got it right from the new factory.
You're right.
Because again, when you're making PAs and EP5s and F59s, like N scale bus, really? Yeah, I don't think so. So we took it and moved it over here. You got one factory making these 3 huge locomotive projects, then you have the other factories doing everything else.
Yes. So moving over to some other stuff. So we know the H16s and the FPA2s, they're all safe now. How well did they actually end up doing? Did they meet our expectations, massively exceed them, just kind of break even?
They both, the FPA2 met my expectation, and the H16 sailed past.
Yes.
So what's going to happen now in the H16? So Dan Darnell is the project manager now of that project, and he is currently on another project, a whole locomotive project that's almost completely designed. We can't say obviously what it is yet; it's a surprise. And as soon as that locomotive project is completely designed, Dan is going to go through the H16 drawings and just tweak and check and make sure everything's okay. And then as soon as he signs off on it, we'll have Paul Cutler III go over it with a fine-tooth comb and tell us all the things we got wrong. And then we'll send it to the mold shop. So I expect it won't actually enter tooling. The earliest it would enter tooling is like first week of January. That's the earliest. It may be after Chinese New Year, so late February. So that would be a sample in the spring. And then provided the sample looks good, we'll give an order deadline, close the book, and make them over next summer. So that's the FPA2. There's no sample. It's already tooled. So we're just going to give that order actually probably next week to the factory. And they'll start making it right away. They'll be happy to make it while they're waiting for E8 changes.
Yep. Now, speaking of projects that needed a bit of a push, whatever happened to the New Haven County cars? Is that kind of in limbo right now, or is that
New Haven County cars? It's just a question of Bill's timeline. The sales were not that strong. They were strong enough to make it. We will make it, but it was not strong enough to be moved to the front of the line priority-wise. So Bill's had so much on his plate with his E8 project that a lot of his other projects have been shifted. And so he has to go through the county. The factory made a fatal flaw with the county cars. They worked with the molds and they designed it to be all new tooling, when actually about 60% of the tooling is already in the previous New Haven cars. The underbody is shared with other. There's a whole bunch of shared details, shared everything. So what Bill has to do, and I got to say, this would have been done by now had we been able to go to China, because this is a conversation to be had in person. Very hard to do over email. They've got to basically take apart the drawing and say, this goes from this mold, this goes from this, so that the car is affordable. Right now, it's not. So it will happen, but it's just Bill's schedule is really full. So hopefully this month or early next month, he will finish up that conversation, get the molds properly done so that we can afford to tool it, and then we'll put it into tooling.
All right.
Is there news on travel and that type of thing and next potential factory visit?
I don't know. Mohan's been making inquiries and he's getting different information from different people. It looks like you don't know how long you're going to be in quarantine for when you arrive. They decide. It's really not encouraged. They're not encouraging people to come at all. He inquired if he can get a work permit, and they said, no, you can't get a work permit. You have to. I have a phone in here. What was a phone in here? I don't want my wife's probably looking for that phone. I don't know how long it's been in. Anyway, so yeah, it's I gotta say that's been really, really hard. Not being, the last time I was there was September 2019. The last time Mohan was there was December 2019. And, you know, we've had a couple of projects here, like the F40 side frames. They were shipped with the wrong side frames installed, or other small errors that have crept into the models that we would catch when we were at the factory every 3 months. We would catch stuff all the time. And like, I was at the factory when I took a photo of a Via RDC shell, and somebody on Facebook said, "You got the wrong window blanked." And I looked at it and said, "Oh my God, we got the wrong window blanked." And I watched them right there, sort of a mini assembly line. And in 2 days, they changed all the windows and they fixed the. Imagine if we'd shipped it and we had to ship them all back, or, you know, had new shells made. So when we're in China, we solve so much stuff. Every 3 months, a Rapido employee was at the factories. And now, I mean, we got one factory where I've never met my partner in the factory in person. We've only met over WeChat, right? Like, we've never sat down and had a beer, and there's communication problems because of that. So that's been, I think, of the many challenges of COVID, that's the one that we're feeling from a quality control side of things. That's when we're feeling the hardest. But from a cash flow side of things, it was the shutdown early last year, where everyone went home a month early for Chinese New Year. And then we had the stuff that was supposed to ship in February shipped in April. So that slowed us down by a couple months. And then now the Canadian Procore tank cars, they left the factory the last week of June.
Yeah, they've been in transit for what, 3 months now?
Over 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
It's the end of the first week. Over 3 months.
Yep.
And they're somewhere in Canada. Right now we have the tank cars are somewhere in Canada. We used a new freight forwarder because our old one was having such troubles, so we changed to a different one, and this one has like no tracking information. So we've got tank cars somewhere in Canada. We have the F30 flat cars somewhere in Canada. I think they're still on the ground in Vancouver, where they've been for 3 weeks. You've got the B36-7, the Kodachrome scheme, somewhere in Canada. And then we've got the HO scale Comets have been stuck at customs in Vancouver for the last week and a half. So, like, it's a mess. And these shipments left months ago, just months ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. It's been a very stressful few months with the shipments taken, and we're not alone. Every manufacturer, every importer, anyone who requires something shipped in bulk from somewhere else is in the same. You know, you just think of it this way, right? We're making model trains. We can fit 2,000 N-scale locomotives on one pallet, right? And so shipping costs have quadrupled, but we can fit 2,000 Ns on one pallet. We're shipping dishwashers. We can put one dishwasher on one pallet.
Speaking of N-scale locomotives,
Yes.
they just arrived. The F40s are here.
And the only reason they're here is we spent ridiculous amounts of money and sent them by air.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why they're here.
And that's ridiculous amounts of money this time of year. Can you imagine November? Ooh.
Oh, yes, I know. They look amazing. They look like HO models, to be honest.
Mhm.
They look like HO models. Just gorgeous.
These are unedited photos, so these are just right out of the box, not even touched up or anything. So, but they look fantastic.
Yeah.
So they've just there's the group shot there.
Wow.
They've just been offloaded. They're not going to ship this week, so they're you know, Francis is still up to his ears, and he's doing the
X31 Boxcars.
X31 Boxcar, which we'll have a look at in a second.
And Comets and N-scale Comets and Horizons.
Yep. So these will start shipping probably in a week's time, give or take, once he gets caught up. But no, they're looking good. So,
Beautiful.
yeah. Now, just circling back, we were talking about the F40s very quickly a few minutes ago. And if you haven't seen the newsletter, we are doing a bit of a truck program, I guess you could call it.
Side frames.
Yeah, side frame. So they got the earlier, I think it was the Hyatt trucks, the factory put them on all the models. So we will be bringing in the proper NPCU, well, the same truck as the NPCU and the modernized F40 from a few years ago. We'll be bringing in those trucks.
Side
frames for the trucks. So anybody that has that already has them, that needs them, we're going to have those available. And are we swapping the side frames for the modernized?
Yeah, so if you've got an F40 and you want new side frames, just give us a shout. Send us a picture of your models or boxes, and we'll put you on the list for free side frames when they come.
Yeah.
And we've got the Amtrak Phase 3 F40s are in the warehouse because they had this project is cursed. Their stripes were too fat, so we're going to do the swap here of the side frames.
Yeah.
So all the Amtrak units will come with the correct side frames.
Yes. And that's not the Via truck or the Hyatt truck. It's the proper. There's 3 different F40 trucks that we've tooled. So they'll be.
I think the problem was, to be honest, that the drawing had all 3 trucks like superimposed.
Yeah.
And the factory just didn't know which one to use.
They didn't know, and again, that, like you said, that's something that normally if we were going over there every 3 or 4 months, we'd probably pick up on that.
So I just had a meeting with Colin last Thursday, and I was like, right now, for example, the barrel ore cars are in production. I said, Colin, normally what they do is they make them and then they send us pictures and say, can we ship them now? Right? And I said, Colin, if we find a problem, you have to remake like 1,000 cars. Okay. We need photos every 2 or 3 days. Just grab one of every car off the production line, one of every style, and let us look at it. And the factory is like, they resist it because like their people are doing stuff, right? We want them to take an hour out of their day and go plop, 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 and take pictures of all the sides and the top. But we have to insist on it because like we're not there. We're just not there. Right. So we have to be able to check. What if there's a printing mistake? What if, we got to check that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very, very challenging not being on the ground in China. It's very, very challenging.
Mm-hmm. Let's get another question here. This is probably another one for you, Jason.
I mean, it's a bad question.
Via yellow is sunflower yellow, and it's been used straight through. Why have there been 3 different colors of blue? Blue on the smooth side cars are different from the stripes on the RDCs and LRC. Signed, Christopher Fox.
That's not a Matt question.
Is that really Chris asking that question?
It absolutely is.
Oh my God. Chris knows as well as I do that Via paints their trains in whatever blue they happen to have handy. Yeah. And Via stripes have gone through in real life like 3 different iterations. Mm-hmm. So the yellow stripes have been always a challenge. We do our best to match. In fact, we rejected the steam generator sample that they sent us. You look on that big wall of steam generators in our newsletter, there's no Via there because Dennis said, I said, match our first run of steam generators because the yellow was perfect. And Dennis matched it to remember the first run of Via coaches in 2006 with the pale yellow stripes? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in 2021, we had Via steam generators with pale yellow stripes. I said, not accepting it. So our yellow tends to vary a little bit. It's very hard to get yellow bang on the same every time. It's extremely difficult. And the blue, again, we get close, but it's if Chris is watching this, I look forward to kick him in the shins next time I see him.
Speaking of the steam heaters or steam generators, there is the wall that I built a couple of weeks ago. I was working late one night and I was like, let's have some fun with the steam generators. So yeah. There they are.
You were working late and hitting the hooch, I think.
Not at the office. No. We saved that for the Friday morning meetings.
Yes, single malt Scotch.
Yeah.
Though I seem to be regularly the only one drinking.
I don't know why. So.
The boss of the company tells his employees, have a drink, unwind for an hour. And like the most exciting they get is coffee.
Yeah, because if I get a drink in that hour, I'll be asleep all afternoon. So if you're giving me permission to take a nap.
Well,
What the heck?
going
Okay,
back to,
you all heard it. You all heard it.
sounds like a plan. Going back to VIA for a second, is there any update on the VHA?
The Historical Association?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we're moving along. Our first magazine is finished in English, and we're having it translated to French. We've had some really nice donations of funds to help us get started, and we're just continuing along. And we're restoring Edmundston. The same Chris Fox who posted the annoying question is working hard on the Carlins, because there's the metal stiffeners that go up the side of the and curve with the roof. He's been working on welding and getting them into shapes that he has a master he can copy to stiffen up the roof and make the car really safe. So he's working on the bathroom. We're hoping that it's going to look a lot different by mid to late spring. We want to see like it'll look a lot different on the inside. We're hoping the bathroom's done by then, and the shower area and all that stuff. So we're working on it. I say we. It's the VHA. There's a whole bunch of people working on it.
Kind of changing tracks here. I think we've had this question before, but it's always a good one. 3D printing, that it seems to be becoming increasingly more popular. Do you see that do you see us getting involved in that at any point, or using that more often in production models or anything like that?
That's a Matt question.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks. I think there's potential to use it in the manufacturing process on our side, especially on certain potentially one-off parts. I mean, if it's something that we're only getting like 200 orders for something, then okay, see if we can run it through a 3D printer, and if the fidelity is there, why not?
Yeah. CSX fuel tank, that was 3D printed.
Yes.
F40, CSX F40 fuel tank.
Fuel tank or air tank?
No, the fuel tank was 3D printed. The air tanks too.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both 3D printed. So Matt's bang on the money.
So, but I mean, if you're looking at it from a complete manufacturing standpoint, I think we're a long ways away from that. I still think, I mean, even the nicest, best 3D printers that the general public doesn't even know about today, I still don't think has the fidelity of injection molding. That's personal opinion.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Especially for mass production and stuff like that. If you're doing like one-offs here and there where you can kind of work with it,
even so, think like it's easier for us to do a lost wax brass casting for a horn, and it's really sturdy, whereas you 3D print it and it's super fragile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, still some of the polymers that you can still only print with, they're super brittle, like you said. So
I've heard of manufacturers doing like runs of several hundred cars of 3D printing, and a year later they're starting to warp.
Really?
Yeah, just from regular use, being out in the sun, going to exhibition layouts, stuff like that, shows, and they're just all that UV radiate, all the UV light and everything, they're just starting to fall apart. Yeah.
And I mean, I know that there's some very small manufacturers out there who do the 3D printing. And again, it's a one-off car that there's not going to be demand for thousands of them, like the GP20 tank car, for instance. How many thousands of those did we make? That's not ideal for 3D printing. And then again, it comes down to like the type of polymer that you run through the machine, the paint, all that sort of stuff that you use. I think for the model train market, mass production of 3D printed models is still a ways away.
I wonder if we're going to end up going beyond the current 3D printing to something more like a replicator in Star Trek, like something that is even more base material. Like I don't know if 3D printing the current technology will ever get have that fidelity that we would need for this kind of industry. And maybe it'll skip to it's not going to be like sparkly lights and then it appears. But I think, I wonder if there's a totally new technology that we haven't figured out yet, say 10 years from now, that could have that incredible impact. But I think the way 3D printing is going, I just don't see it having that ability. Think about the fact also that our models have metal parts. They have to have a certain weight to them. The laws of physics say that a super light 3D printed plastic engine is not going to pull anything.
Right. We've worked how many years to get away from super light models?
Right. Exactly.
But then my next question is, okay, you have technology to do something like that. I know I don't want to paint and decal 100 coal cars for a coal train. So who's going to do all your decoration?
Right.
Precisely. Yeah.
So the cost of labor is still an issue, and that's what is most of the model costs, right? It's the cost of labor.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, it's a labor cost, and then just every time, at least my understanding, every time a worker has to touch that car, your price goes up. So.
Right.
And so, like, the more complex the deco is, the more times a person has to handle that car, price goes up.
Right.
Sure.
Exactly.
Speaking of new freight cars and new stuff, I haven't shown the X31s yet.
Let's have a looky.
Yeah, these just shipped out this week. So we've got the Pennsylvania Railroad HO X31s, the single doors, the double doors. They are heading off the dealers right now, and they're really nice. Metal grabs, metal stirrups, separate grabs, separate ladders, full underbody.
This is the first car to ship from our newest factory.
Yes.
And all I'm going to suggest everyone do is just check your trip pins. We found a couple of them have low trip pins. Just use your trip pin pliers. Just check your trip pin. We recommend that with all of our models. You always got to check the trip pin height, but definitely don't put on the track without checking your trip pin. You don't want this thing. That one's fine over there. But you don't want this thing. You don't want this thing to go, hitting a frog and derailing. It's a gorgeous car. So just check your trip pin height.
They also roll really nicely. I put them on the test track and they just rolled away. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Whenever I was testing the Procore 5820s this past weekend, and the layout I was on, he's got like a 30-foot run. I sort of shot it down the layout. It went all 30 feet, so it rolls very nice too.
Nice.
So we got
Nice
some more
car.
videos here.
Those sold very well too.
The X31s.
Yeah, it's a single road car. It sold very well.
Yep, but with several different paint variations.
I remember Bill pitched that to me. And that was one of the I had I saw the light on freight cars. Remember that meeting? That was the January 2020 meeting in at Bill's house. Were you there, Jordan?
No, I wasn't. I was working on a shipment by myself.
I keep saying, hey Jordan, remember these great memories? We went to CP and got a tour of their train, and then we had a big meeting. You weren't at any of that stuff.
Yeah.
What do? You just sit at home all day. This is why you live in Peterborough. You never that's it. You're just gonna never leave Peterborough again. Is that what I understand?
Well, considering I spend 2 to 3 days a week still in the office in Markham, so
2 to 3 days.
I'm getting out of here twice a week. Probably.
Don't feel bad, Jordan. I wasn't at that meeting either.
That was the meeting. That was the meeting where I was told you are hiring Bobby immediately. I was told number one, we're now doing freight cars. Number two, you are hiring Bobby immediately. Those are the two things I was told at that meeting. And the X31 was like the first freight car that came out of that meeting, I think.
Yeah. You got any more freight cars?
Got the unique. Those are weird trucks on those freight cars.
They are. I can't really explain it because this is a Bill thing, but yeah, it's got an interest, like a single spring and a leaf spring all in there. I'm probably not describing that correctly, but
I just say that nobody in this call is a Penzi modeler, so I apologize to the 40 million Penzi modelers out there.
Yes.
Wait.
You have serious parallax on that. You have serious parallax on that shot, eh?
Well, I took this photo like 3 inches from the lens. So.
See, clearly, a little distortion.
They're unedited, So,
What's going on? The sides aren't straight. Say, I don't want this. There's nothing straight on that car.
Yeah, it's a Penzi car, and oh, let's look at the date. 43? No clue.
this is a later one. This is a 1960 re-stencil anyway. So anyway, but they're nice. Going to stores now.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, we're at it. We've got so much new stuff to show. We've also got the Comet cars. I can bring those up.
The N scale ones?
N scale Comets. They also shipped to dealers this week.
Ooh.
Here's the N scale Comets. This is the Condot Metro North cars. Now this is another car that you put it on the track and they just roll away. They're very, very smooth.
And they're inside bearing too. And they've got all bearings in them.
Yep. Sorry, these are
So
again,
small.
unedited photos, but there's SEPTA. So these actually turned out really nicely. Full interiors, operating headlights and ditch lights on the cab cars. Full underbody. So they're actually, they shipped out along with the X31s.
Gorgeous.
I think we're sold out of these too.
Oh yeah?
I think
I know Dan Garcia's he's been fielding all these calls from the dealers saying, I need more. It's like the order deadline was like a year ago. I need more.
Exactly.
They're gorgeous. They're
They
stunning.
really are. There we go. There's all the.
What do you do there? They're falling over?
They're actually propping each other up. I want to get a look at all the different horns. That actually doesn't have that doesn't have the NJ Transit car isn't in the photo, but
Did
So-
Craig take that photo while they were having an earthquake?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Any Horizon shots?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
remember those.
Horizons, yeah, like half the order with Horizons.
Hang on a minute. Let me find them in here. They're in the same.
I think it's time we made more HO Horizons. Those things sold out so quickly.
Yes.
Tell me any store that's got Horizons in stock. I don't
Oh,
think.
they're impossible to find. There we go. It's a dinette.
Beauty.
Ford dinette. Broad shot. Coach. Blurry. There's all the underbody detail.
Oh my! It's got disc brakes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, remember that's N scale too.
Yeah,
And
it's
scale disc brakes.
Mhm.
Josh is insane.
Yeah. Track powered lighting. These turn out really nicely. There's the NJ Transit cars there. The Comets. I think we got more. Other Horizons. Phase
There we
3.
go. Phase 3.
There's the dinette. And I believe, there we go. There is the phase 6 coaches and dinettes. So these have also shipped out. There's so much stuff shipping out. I'm having trouble keeping track of it all. We've been so busy lately. So these are on their way to dealer shelves
Hey,
now.
Jordan's just our PR manager, eh? He doesn't know
Exactly.
about shipping. Poser.
So what you're saying is we should have Francis on this call.
Probably. He's been working really hard. He came in on a Saturday.
Here, PR manager. What's new at Rapido? I don't know. Hey, thanks, Hoser.
Funny guy. So,
That's okay. You sent your newest employee to the 2 shows this summer anyway, so
yeah, exactly. But anyway,
Yeah, you've done more shows than everybody else combined.
I did one show, the only show that we've had in Canada in 2 years. So
Right.
almost 2 years anyway. I guess the last one would have been the Brampton show in 2019. The last one we had around here.
The last one we were at, I mean, I don't think we did the Barry show that year.
No, in Canada at least. We did the Denver show, and that was like a week before everybody locked down.
Right. Right. I remember, yeah, Mohan and I were in Pennsylvania on business the same week that you guys went to the Denver show.
Yeah.
And so I got to tell you, was my birthday in March, and everything locked down. It's like, oh, this is what I'm looking forward to, right? I don't know how long this is going to be. So Sadora got me a T-shirt, kids got me a mug, or whatever. So I went on eBay and I bought a Millennium Falcon, and I proceeded to since March 2020 to now, I now have like 3 times as many Star Wars toys I had when I was a kid. I got the Falcon, I got 2 X-wings, I have 3 TIE fighters, I got Dagobah, I have 3 Hoth sets. I'm having fun.
Are they in HO scale?
They're not. They're in 3.75 inch scale, but my son and I play with them all the time. And we set up the whole family room as we have the Imperial base. This is totally irrelevant to model trains. We have the Imperial base. We have the Tatooine, the Dagobah, and the Hoth, and we have adventures. I have 2 AT-ATs.
Nice.
Those are old. I had those a long time. Anyways, yeah, that's what I've been doing over COVID. Everybody is I've been playing with my Star Wars action figures.
And building the layout.
Yeah. That too.
Yeah, we did a meeting this morning, and we remember you had your computer on. And we're doing our meeting, and all we can hear is the typing of your keys in the.
I was writing the essay for the newsletter today. But Bill Schneider, whom I now hate, started his layout in July.
I'm sure he'll appreciate hearing that.
July 2020, and had his first off session this week. I started my layout in April 2013, and I'm not anywhere near an off session.
It doesn't help that we ripped the entire stretch of Kingston out and rebuilt it from scratch over the last.
Yeah, that was worth it.
Yeah,
that's a really cool scene now. But
yeah,
no, it's Bill. Let me describe how Bill would come stay here, and it would be snowing, and I would go shovel the driveway, and it would take me like 45 minutes. And then the next morning, we get the same amount of snow, and Bill says, "Let me shovel the driveway." 5 minutes. Okay, it took me 45. It took him 5 minutes, and that's the same thing with his layout. He goes down to the basement and he sneezes, and there's like a whole new forest scene. No, it's the scenery, not with. Anyway, it's only you would think that way. You're such a hoser. Anyway, but he.
You have the hoser shirt.
I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's doing phenomenal work on his layout. It's a gorgeous model railroad, and like in a year and a bit, he's at where I'm going to be in about 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And his layout covers a bigger square footage than mine does.
Here's a bit of somewhat of a technical question. Do you see us adding capacitors to our locomotives? And if so, why or why not? And how easy would it be to do that? And if not, why is it too difficult or expensive, or what's the case?
That's a Matt question.
Yeah.
No, that's a Mohan question.
Yeah, but he's not here, man.
Oh yeah, Mohan's not here. I don't know. I mean, the B36s that I've got don't need any capacitors in them. What do you guys think? I mean, I have my own opinions on that sort of stuff, but my own opinions are formed from another manufacturer's standpoint.
What's your opinion? Let's hear it.
My opinion is I don't think that capacitors should be added or don't need to be added from a factory level, because if the model is assembled properly and not over lubricated and you have good track work, you do not need capacitors. That's the key thing that a lot of people do not, in my opinion, do properly, is a lot of the track work is, and that causes the continuity issues on the trucks going over track that isn't smooth, that has gap issues, joint issues, frog issues, that type of thing. If your track work is done correctly, locomotives run over it without any issues.
I'll tell you one thing though that we've noticed on some of our engines, which capacitor will not fix, is the chemical blackening on our wheel sets is building up.
Mm.
And I know some of the 1200s had this, and I had it on some of the not all, but some of my RS18s had this, where the chemical blackening had built up, so that the electrical continuity from the wheels to the pickups was spotty. So I actually, Dan Darnell recommended that you take the wheels out and you run a wire brush over them or use nail polish remover and just get that blackening stuff off the axle ends, and that makes a huge difference.
Sure.
We're trying to fix that at the factory because we said, like, why is this happening? And it's spotty. Some models have it and some don't. Like some 1200s have it, some don't. Some RS18s have it, some don't. And so like the problems like that won't be solved by a capacitor. That's the chemical blackening is just frustrating.
Right. But again, that's my personal opinion. So, I mean, none of my equipment has capacitors in it, and I usually don't have an issue at the places that I operate on. So
I've never had my equipment stall from losing power from the track. If my equipment's stalling, it's from dirty wheels, generally, or something like that. It's not from dirty wheels, including too much chemical blackening.
Right.
It's not happening from track. But you have to watch. Sometimes your wheel sets lift up off the track because your track isn't perfectly square. Right. I remember when we shipped the turbo train, which was a terrible runner. Never had problems picking up power though, because every wheel turbo run on anything. Track can not be cleaned in 6 months, and turbo will run on no problem because there's so many points of contact. But somebody called and complained and said your turbo is derailing, and that's one thing. The turbo, if it could actually move, it wouldn't derail. Right. The problem was moving it. And so I said, well, what's your radius curve you're going on? 18. Are you on a grade? 4%. You're on an 18-inch radius on a 4% grade? Yeah. Well, did you change out the truck side frames? So there's no stabilizer bars. And said, oh no, I just didn't. I left the original on, but I just didn't. So hang on, you've got these plastic bars sticking out of your model into the side of the car, because if you have tight curves, you got to take those things off. And you didn't even run them through the eyelets. You just had them loose, and you're going on an 18-inch radius curve on a 4% grade. Yeah. Well, anything's going to derail now. Like, you got to change out the truck side frames, and it won't derail. And it didn't once he did that, right? But you can't predict for anyone's track, right? It's just
right.
Whatever their track is, their track is. And
right.
Anyone who's built a layout knows that our track work's not perfect. I've had to redo a ton of my track work because it sucked. Mm-hmm. I had to rip out scenic track because I wasn't happy with it.
Well, I've had to do that a couple of times on your layout where where the bench work was all weighty. We had to shore it up a couple of times.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was horrible. I remember that. You and I were struggling with Brockville I should have used a piece of foam there. Instead I didn't. I used 11 millimeter plywood, which was way too thin, and it was just like, again, Gomez says that's accurate for the Kingston sub.
It does have a lot of dips, so I'd say the least. Yeah.
Any more questions? We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, we're moving along. The RS11s, 18s, RSC14s went back for retooling.
Oh, it wasn't full retooling. It was.
No, not tooling changes. But
it was just that panel on the roof.
Yeah.
That where the filters are.
Yep.
It wasn't fitting properly, and the filters themselves were tooled incorrectly. And we were supposed to get new samples of that like in the next few days. So Dan's gonna have to follow up with the factory and find out where the samples are. Because when I spoke to Colin we didn't talk about it last week. We spoke a week or two before. He said end of September it'll be ready.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people excited about those projects.
That the sales are very good, but so we used a new mold shop. The mold shop that did the original RS1118. We didn't work with them on this one because there was a local mold shop that was closer, and he knows Colin well, and he said he wanted to take a crack at it. He tooled already the N-Scale LRC. He tooled what else did he tool? He tooled the R56 reefer. No, it's something else. The B100 boxcar. He tooled the B100 boxcar.
Yeah.
HO. He's done a few different projects, and so he took on the 1118s, and it was like 6-7 months before we saw a sample. It was normally it's 60 days. I think it was just a very difficult project for that size of mold shop. There's 5 employees in that mold shop.
Yeah, and it's a pretty complicated project.
It's a complicated project, and we're not. It's not just new parts. We're retooling the whole thing because we wanted the shell to lift off like a handful of screws and not have to disassemble the whole model.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Dave and Mark and Robin appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of the things you learn from experience, right? I mean, the SW1200 was difficult to disassemble, but then the 11s and 18s were horrendous, and we just said, guys, like you're not trying to disassemble the models virtually, which is what factories should be doing. That they should be thinking of disassembly. And so the first model that we designed, because remember the 1200 RS and the RS 1118s sort of overlap each other. The first new model that was designed, I think, was the M420 from that factory, and the M420 is like lift off the shelf. It's so easy. So they learned their lesson, but now they had to retool the RS. And if we ever do the 1200 RSs, we got to retool that as well so that it's easy to disassemble.
All right. Do we have an update on all the UK buses, the fleet lines, and the Guy Arabs?
They are in the warehouse in the UK. They've arrived. So
That's what just arrived this week, isn't it?
Yeah, it arrived yesterday. So Andy, it's a first time shipping out anything from the UK office, so he's setting up their systems to make sure it goes smoothly. So they're working on that now. So they won't start going out probably till next week, sometime end of next week.
I should actually let me bring that up. So if anyone's ever looking for information on our UK division, there's actually a separate YouTube, or not YouTube, I think actually no, they do have a YouTube page, but Facebook page specifically for Rapido UK. So if you want any updates, regular updates.
There they are.
They are sitting in the.
There they are.
Yep, in the warehouse in the UK.
Our warehouse is in Kent.
Yes. Yes, actually, there's an.
Oh, look at that. Look at. Oh wow, gorgeous. They are gorgeous.
Yep, absolutely.
That layout was built by my friend Phil Parker, and it's based on that the bridge is on Bristol Road, and it's based on the actual Selly Oak Bridge. Oh, that looks fantastic. I was going to Photoshop something, like Photoshop out the background. I just may include the massive jungle scene in the background and put that in there.
I think that looks even better.
It looks stunning.
Yeah. But yeah, if you are ever curious about what's going on with Rapido UK, just go over to their Facebook page, and they have their own website. If you have any questions about Rapido UK products, go through Rapido UK's site. There's a contact form there, or you can just send them a message through their Facebook page.
Conflat P.
What's that?
That's an N-scale Conflat P.
Yes.
Right there. So we're making the N-scale Class 28 BOCO, as in Boko from the railway stories, and it hauled these cars. So now we're making these cars too. Yeah, I think that's our biggest selling British engine, is this little Class 28, which they were known to catch fire.
Hopefully our models don't do that.
Well, I thought that would be an extra feature. They could charge extra for that. Super deluxe model has an explosive charge in the engine compartment.
Exactly.
We're keeping Matt awake. It's Central Time there, dude. It's like an hour earlier.
Nope, Louisville's on Eastern Time.
Oh, Eastern?
Yeah.
Oh, this is really late for you.
No, and actually, they're at home in Evansville. I'm only 2 counties away from Eastern Time, so.
So you guys talk counties in the States, right? Like that's a big thing, county line.
It depends where you are. Like if you go down south, like Louisiana, they're called parishes.
Right.
So but most of the general U.S. is county. Yeah.
But see, like no one cares in Canada that you've left Durham County and you're now in Kawartha Lakes or York Region or Durham Region, now York Region. Like nobody cares. The only thing is the buses change color.
Okay.
Like no one cares, right? Peel region, York region, these are the counties. So I get the impression, though, in the States, like there's a real separation. And the old story that people would like escape across the county line to get away from the fuzz or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and I'll do you one better. At home in Evansville, there's a creek that goes down into the Ohio River called Pigeon Creek, and that sort of divides Evansville on the east side and the west side. There are people on the west side of Evansville who will not cross Pigeon Creek.
Why? Because it's the bad side of the tracks, bad side of the creek.
It's the east side of Evansville. They don't want to go. Everything I need's on the west side.
Holy moly!
Yeah, it's wild.
And then you have other guys like Matt Herman who says, "I got nothing to do today. I'm going to drive 800 miles." I get a call from Matt. "Hey, you gonna do anything?" "No." "Where are you?" "In your parking lot." "Hi, Matt. Didn't I speak to you in Pennsylvania yesterday?" "I decided to drive up." Before COVID, obviously, right? He would just show up in our parking lot, right? I remember one time we came to work and he was asleep in the parking lot. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
He left his house like 3 a.m. He got to Rapido before anyone else did, or 2 a.m, and then he was in his big like Suburban or whatever he rode in Yukon. I don't know, Northwest Territories, whatever he was driving, and he was like unconscious in the truck.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he really appreciates this story being spread around.
No, I'm talking about him fondly. It's amazing that so you got one guy's not going to cross the creek in Evansville, and Matt's like, I was bored today, so I drove to Denver.
No, that's what I did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, every time, I got to tell you guys, so we have Zoom meetings twice a week, 3 times a week. We're Zoom meeting the product development twice a week and the full team once a week. And then Matt, you and I meet privately. Every time he's in a different house. It's like, Matt, where the hell are you? California. What are you doing there?
Oh, just driving around.
And then of course we have the it's the early morning meeting, right? And you're in California and it's like,
yeah, I'm asleep at my keyboard. Yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern time is what, 6 a.m. California time. Thanks, guys.
See, Craig wakes up at like 4 anyway, so he's fine.
Yeah, he's an old guy. He's up at dawn.
Yeah, they don't have to sleep much when they're that age.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, why don't we do 2 more questions and then get ready to call it a night. I've got tickets to watch James Bond tonight, so.
Tickets to watch James Bond.
Yeah.
To go to a movie theater.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's allowed now. We're allowed.
Yes, but how it's already 8:35. What time is your show?
10:30.
This is why you never show up to work before 11, hoser.
It's Peterborough. The theater is 20-minute walk away. So.
Yeah, but then you're gonna be zonked tomorrow morning. Like, I got work for you to do tomorrow. You can't be sitting around like asleep. Holy.
You know what time I left the office last night? 9:30.
Well, the only reason is that is because you and Bobby talk all day on the phone.
There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work that goes into newsletters, which actually went out today.
That's true, and Bobby did an amazing job. So everyone, in case you didn't know, Bobby is our grand poobah of newsletters.
Yes,
and he does an amazing job on the newsletters, and I used to spend a lot of time on them. And one of the reasons that Rapido has been able to grow over the last couple of years is because I am not doing everything on the PR side myself. So Jordan, you took on the PR manager role, Jeremy took on the videos, and Bobby took on the newsletters. And I think that the 4 of us make a pretty good little team of PR. But it's really like I can leave most of it to you 3. I mean, you guys are so awesome at it. So you're all doing a good job, and I'm really happy with how you guys are doing. I have these Facebook Live things that you do, Jordan, and Bobby does with the questions. Bobby's, by the way, he's behind the curtain doing questions.
behind the curtain today, posting questions. So
I'm really proud of you guys for what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, because of you, we're on Instagram, and we're on TikTok.
We're still trying to figure out what that is.
How many views that first video was? Like 50,000?
It was at 77,000 last time I checked. So I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do this right. I'm like, am I doing this correctly? I just posted it. I'm like, we'll see what happens. And I posted it and it had like 400 views. And then I woke up the next morning and it was at like 40,000. I guess that's how this works. I have no idea.
I think that we need to be doing more TikTok. I'll have to film like
we have
the turbo passing through Brockville or something.
Have you looked at our TikTok page, which is up to like 7 videos now in the last week?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we just had the one.
We're at like 7.
Well, that's what you're doing with all your time. Why do you tell me that? I cut your pay last week. So now you're doing nothing all day.
$10. So
$9.50.
Yeah, $9.50 US.
No, we don't do American dollars here. That's too expensive.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, Matt, your $5.50 an hour costs us like $20.
Yeah. Any better than our gas prices?
Hoping you didn't realize that.
Yeah.
All right, what other questions there, Jordan? Before you
One last question. Let's see what we've got here.
make it a Matt question. I've been talking to.
Speaking of Matt, I know we have a lot of Jason questions about the VHA.
No, Janet, I don't know what Paul Cutler's beard's name is.
That's a good one, actually. That's a good one.
I think actually he's going to name it Janet.
Ooh.
Moving right along.
Crickets.
Here's Matt. This is just off the top of my head here. Do you have a whole bunch of freight cars in your mind? Maybe doing more modern freight cars? For HO?
I do, and I'm going to have to brush up on my Photoshop skills so that I can show them in Brockville in 1982.
1980.
1980. So if there's ever a contemporary freight car in Brockville, that's how I got it through.
Exactly.
Actually, so Matt's basically after the performance of this auto flood car, he can make whatever freaking car he wants.
Yeah, and who knew that just holding a car up on the palm of my hand would get Jason so excited?
That was awesome. That was amazing. For those of you who did not hear this earlier, in Matt's video, he holds the car up in his hand with the real car behind it. It looks like they're coupled together. That was amazing. Like, we've been doing videos for 15 years and it's never occurred to us to do that. You do your second video for Rapido and you do that.
That was the
More
auto
than just a hat rack.
That was the auto flood video, I think.
Yeah, it was the one that went live yesterday.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and we'll probably get that on Facebook tomorrow or something like that. Probably
We've been talking about that for the last 5 minutes. Like, if you weren't so busy using your Snapbook or whatever it is you're looking at right now and paying attention to this conversation, you would have heard all that.
I did hear all that.
Jeez, a hose head.
There's a lot of snapbooking going on. My book, so something like that.
MySpace?
Yeah. No, Janet's on MySpace.
Janet's got a MySpace page.
Yeah. She was probably one of the first people on there, and probably one of the only people on there now.
And you know what website didn't go down this week? MySpace.
Nice.
It's used social media.
Yes.
Right. Social media didn't go down as MySpace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Would it be nice if Rapido had a monopoly on all model railroad manufacturing the way that Facebook has a monopoly on like all social media?
Sure.
I don't know. I'd like we could each have our own private island.
Private
Can I
car.
get this in writing?
Anyways, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else we want to talk about?
I want to talk about the weird lines going up past your head.
That's because I converted all the light bulbs in the house to LED when I moved in, and it's just the way the camera is. So
It looks like it's like a dream sequence from the 80s.
yeah, that's my new map. So
Oh, thanks. Blind us. Oh, come on, hoser.
you asked. You wanted to know where it was coming from.
Yeah, I have to say, and this is, I'm going to confess this now, and it's like I feel it's coming out. I've become addicted to the facts of life. I'm in the middle of season 3. I love it. I watch an episode a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I even got an Eastland T-shirt.
And what are you going to watch next?
Well, I watch Cheers and Night Court almost every day too, so I'm sort of stuck around 1984. I hear there's a new show coming out called Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So let's see. We know he works on his layout. We know he watches TV now. So does Jason work anymore?
Hey, I watch Facts of Life at lunch, and I watch Night Court before bed.
Oh, okay.
They're too new for my clothes though, right? Because I'm still wearing bell bottoms. I think that should be mandatory for all Rapido employees. Remember when we were going to do Star Trek uniforms for everybody, and like you and I were the only ones who wanted to do that? I'm looking at you, Jordan.
Yeah, and whatever happened with that?
Oh, they were too expensive.
You were going to make everybody a red shirt.
There was a point, about 3 years ago, there was a point where you said if I could find like an 8-foot long Enterprise D, then you would buy it and put it in the office. You remember that?
That still applies, buddy.
Exactly.
Yes, I want an 8-foot long Enterprise D. How long is Enterprise D? It's like a kilometer long.
No, it's not that big.
550, something like that. It's like the CN Tower on its side.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So figure, how big would that be in my layout room? It's big in HO scale, eh?
Big.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. If you can find us an HO scale Enterprise, we'll build it together and we'll put it in your living room.
My living room is not that big. It's big, but it's not that big. Anyway, we're not talking about trains anymore. So
No, that's how it happens.
It's probably a good time to call it a night.
Okay.
But I will say people are wondering why we don't get Janet in these meetings, in these live streams.
Well, then why don't we now commit Janet? Just commit her. Commit Janet to being in the next live stream.
Yeah. So Janet, you're going to be in the next live stream. We already kind of know when that's going to be. Sometime around the 12th of November or somewhere around there. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be November, and Janet's gonna be the star.
Yes.
And I think it should just be Janet.
Yeah, just Janet alone.
Yeah. Though she seems to have an obsession with Paul Cutler's beards. Maybe Paul will come on the meeting too.
It'll just be the two of them, and we'll see how that goes. So. All right, I think that's about time.
Okay. Thanks everybody. It's been a lot of fun.
Yep, this has been pretty good. And we're gonna upload this to YouTube.
Oh, no, I think Janet just texted me. Hang on a second. Oh dear. Okay. No, I won't share that with the rest of the planet.
Like I was saying, we'll save this on Facebook and we'll have this on YouTube. We'll upload it probably in the next couple of days. If not tomorrow, maybe Saturday or Sunday.
And next time I want more Doctor Who questions. I can answer those.
We didn't ask any Doctor Who questions.
No, it was just Star Wars this time. So anyway.
All right. Next.
Okay. Bye.
See you later. Bye.